Welcome back to F1 2017 here. We're at the Hungarian Grand Prix. We have a new power upgrade giving us 4.62 brake horsepower, one of the minor powertrain upgrades that we're getting. Still, disclaimer, this was recorded pre-patch, and we've also got that internal combustion engine wear too, because we're working towards that shortcut for the major powertrain upgrade. But yes, this was recorded prior to the patch. Same with Belgium that's coming. So Italy will be the first race recorded post-patch for fixing the Mclaren Honda. But now you can see we have 500 resource points in the bank. We're going to be going for that shortcut. As I said, put that in place. That will be here for the Belgian Grand Prix, and then we can work towards that major powertrain upgrade for the Mc Honda. And once that patch is in place, oh, we're going to have some power. We are going to have some fantastic power. But, you know, working through the practice programs as I did, take advantage of the wet weather because that makes the programs a little bit easier. At least I find it does. So 50 on the track, 50 on the tyre wear, 50 on the fuel consumption. Look at me, I'm just a machine pumping out these 50 resource points per session, because that is the only way we're going to get this car to the front. We're on a little bit of a wave of momentum at the moment, and it's been really good to ride, honestly. You know, getting a few consistent point scoring finishes in Austria and in Britain.
Hi, it's Emma. Your qualifying goals came up in the board meeting this morning. Here's what to expect.
So once again, qualify 16th, beat Wehrlein, because Wehrlein is our rival. So obviously we have those concerns going into qualifying. Hungary, not so much of a power circuit, so hopefully we'll be all right. We've got that main sort of straight towards turn one, but outside of that we haven't really got too many power sections. It's more sort of about being technical, which is what the car is good at. So here we go, we're going to jump straight into our first flying lap. I'm running quite worn parts due to the fact that this isn't really a power track. I'm going to fit a fresh engine for Belgium and run a Belgium and Italy. But here we come, first sector, chucking it in. I love that section in the 2017 cars. They just grip so much, although through the next corner, got it out on the marbles, could not get it turned in, unfortunately. This corner's an utter joy. Got it very wide, though, on the first lap, and we're 2.5 seconds down on the current provisional pole. Valtteri Bottas and going too deep into that corner there, bringing it around the final corner, opening up the DRS, and that's going to be a 1:22.3, putting us stone dead last. But we're going to go around again, and you can see here, coming up to the final sector, we're 8 tenths up, dropping it down now, but we're roughly 8 tenths up on our previous lap, fixing the mistakes of the previous time through, get it through the final corner on the power, get that DRS open, and we're going to charge towards the line. It's a 9/10 improvement, and we beat Marcus Ericsson. I think that's more of a testament to how bad our first lap was, realistically, because I gave this a good old go in qualifying here, because I realised that I might be able to try and get a decent spot. You can see running really wide there as we come through the second sector, giving it absolutely everything through these corners, getting that one much better that time around, nearly 4 tenths up as we come through the final sector here, coming down, getting the car nicely in. Look, over half a second up, clearly still time to find. If I was running a fresh engine, the time would have been quite good, but we're in 18th at the moment. We've got Danny Kvyat ahead, the 2 Sauers behind, getting on the power, slight hesitation, Delta building towards 5/10 improvement. Where's that going to put us? It's 18th. It's 18th. That's how down we are on everyone else.
Vettel, Raikkonen, and Valtteri Bottas. Goodbye for now then, but we're really
so that was disappointing. You can see here, we're taking a look at it. The Williams surprisingly beating the Red Bulls. Alonso pulling 14th out of his arse. And we're down in 18th. 8 tenths of a second off Palmer and only just beating Marcus Ericsson. Which is pretty bad. Pretty bad, all things considered. Being in the 21s is one thing, but being that far off the car ahead. Now, granted, obviously, you know, the turbocharger, the MG UK, and the engine are running quite a lot of wear, so our power is quite down. And as I've learnt doing a separate career mode, the one that I'm not recording here, it affects us pretty badly. It affects us pretty damn badly. So we're starting off on the back foot, and so you know, making a conscious decision. If we're already near the back, why not make it a little bit worse for ourselves? So yeah, fresh everything. Just bolt another engine in there. If I'm going to be at the back anyway, I have nothing left to lose. And I will do that every weekend. I'll just keep throwing more engines at this thing. But there you go. That's that. I'm going to swap back, as I mentioned earlier, to the worn parts for this one. Put a fresh engine in there for Belgium and for Italy, where it's all about power.
With me to enjoy it all is Anthony Davidson, a man who made his Grand Prix debut here with Minardi back in 2002. So, Ant, this is a bit of a special one for you, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd say so. I also stood in to commentate on Jensen's win in 2006, and as I was a test driver for Honda at the time, you can imagine that was quite an emotional Grand Prix. It's also a tough circuit on the drivers, this one too. Lots of long, slow corners that require a lot of patience from inside the car. Plus, it's a very downforce heavy circuit. I mean, it's all relative, of course, but if you're lacking a bit in downforce, or if you've got a bit of an imbalance in the setup, this is definitely one of the worst places to have to deal with that.
So there you go. That's the strategy. Looking at it here, we have the option of a one-stop, and the two-stop is allegedly only a couple of seconds slower. But I've learnt my lesson from Austria, in that the two-stop is not really the smart idea. So we're gonna go with the one-stop strategy, starting on the medium tyres and finishing up on the super soft, which I think we're gonna need. That speed towards the end. It's just a matter of drawing out the first stint, and you're going to see something a little bit interesting here as we come to the end of the formation lap. I'm not too sure if this was a glitch before the patch, but you're going to see my car's going to ghost, and we're going to go through Wehrlein, and we're going to pull past Ericsson, and we're going to start in 18th place. So we're starting where I was scheduled to start, but without the penalty. So bit of a weird one there. 5 lights, and the Hungarian Grand Prix is underway as we charge towards turn 1 very slowly off the line, and we're actually going to drop down to 18th place. Wehrlein still behind us there. He must have had an absolute shocker of a start. We're going to take it cautiously, take a little look up the inside, pick up the pieces if we can. Take a lot of curve that's going to hamper our acceleration on the outside. We've got past Palmer though, and we're up into 16th place with Alonso battling Magnussen into turn 2. Magnussen on the inside, Alonso on the outside, trying to drag it round. Not quite close enough to do anything as we now head through turn 4 up towards turn 5 on this opening lap. Perez in the Force India looks to be very out of position as we now go wide through turn 5. Can we look to stick it up the inside of Fernando here? No, we can't. Again, just a little bit too far back as we now head through the chicane for the first time as we cut through, and we're going to stick it down the inside of Fernando through the chicane, force him out wide, put him out of position there, stamping our authority on that move. I don't care how long you've been in Formula 1, how many wins you have, and how many world titles. That is how you make a move around the Hungaroring. It's one of the few overtaking opportunities, even though I'm on the slowest tyre. But now it's important to try and stick with the field if we can, bearing in mind the car has worn parts, is underperforming, and is on the harder tyre. And you can see by the end of lap 2 that's not worked out. We've now got Perez trying to go down the inside. We squeeze him as much as we can towards the pit wall, but he's gone down the inside. We're going to brake really late into turn 1, hang it round the outside. A beautiful defensive move, and that's really the key spot for us down this pit straight. You're going to see it on the very next lap. This is where we're weakest. We've just got no power with a worn engine, as Perez is going to have another go. We don't squeeze him as much this time around. He's completely past us there. We're going to try and hold it around the outside again. Hulkenberg trying to make a move on Fernando Alonso there, but Perez has completely done me. We try and stick in his slipstream to have a go into the second corner, but he's just too far ahead. And the Force India driver has got through into 15th place. And I've just got to hope and pray that loads of the cars ahead of us are on two-stop strategies and that this can work out for us. Now a big car onto lap 8 here. You can see the cars ahead have pulled off into the distance, and now we've got Fernando Alonso for company behind us in a sister car, and he's not going to have too much more power than us, but he might have a fresher power unit as Alonso pulls to the inside to make the move into turn 1. He's going to try and get us back for that move on the first lap. We're not going to allow it to happen. We hold it wide, but we get too much curb and we don't get a lot of drive off the corner. Fernando goes past into turn 2. Can we make a move down the inside? Alonso leaves the road wheel to wheel, and we've just managed to keep the position against the Spaniard as we sweep through and retain the position. Now lap 9, start of lap 10, more cars are in the pit lane. Fernando still behind, not as close as he was. We get past one guy, that's Hamilton coming out the pits there. So that's how far behind we have actually fallen. but also that gives a good gauge in that Hamilton in 9 laps had only built up a pit stops advantage, and we're damn sure he's going to be pitting again. So that means some of the cars ahead might be vulnerable with this strategy. We just need to keep putting in physically the best times that we can, and it might work out for us. Running in 12th at the moment with cars due to make a stop. Hamilton is really fast as he comes towards turn 5. I had to take avoiding action down the inside there, otherwise that might have ended up in a huge collision. We've slid wide in turn 6. That allows Hamilton to dive it up the inside. There's absolutely no point in battling the Mercedes. He's far too fast for us on this day, or any other for that matter. As we now cut to the end of lap 10 here, we've got Alonso once again in the slipstream. More cars in the pits. Hulkenberg, and we're going to come out. There's a car coming out the pits. There's a Red Bull. It's Daniel Ricciardo who's going to have a go at both of us into turn 1. Round the outside we go. I love this aerial shot here. But Alonso may be thinking about taking an opportune move while we were distracted by the Red Bull coming down the inside. But I just wanted to share that due to, that camera angle was beautiful. If only we could, have a toggle mode for sort of what camera we wanted, because I'd want that aerial shot of all times for my replay cameras. But here we go then, just once again. You're going to see this pit straight quite a lot as Massa comes past. And, well, if you've seen the Baku video, you know how this goes. Just look how far ahead he can pull with that low drag Mercedes power. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. Pretty damn embarrassing. But, I don't need to repeat the words of Fernando Alonso. Speaking of which, he's once again in our slipstream, but we're keeping consistent with our lap times. We don't really drop off the pace too much as Alonso goes to make a move. Grosjean down the inside, 3 wide temporarily into turn 1. We're just going to hold it, and Grosjean can manage to come out of the pits ahead of Fernando. That's going to scupper his strategy a little bit there. We now find ourselves on lap 17, halfway distance of the Grand Prix, actually up in 8th place, still on our first set of tyres. Now, Alonso has made a pit stop. That's why he's dropped so far back. Realistically speaking, a lot of cars are only going to have 1 stop left to make as Hulkenberg tries to take a look down our outside. He pulls quite far ahead, but once again, late on the brakes. That's the only benefit of lacking in straight line speed. We can be later and more aggressive on the brakes as we've got Hulkenberg and Sainz behind us now. Sainz, of course, going to be familiar with our work from the British Grand Prix of our defensive driving. And once again, if we can manage to hang on and get a point, it will be brilliant. Here's the very next lap as Hulkenberg tries to go to the outside. We defend. He has to go to the outside. Sainz in position to make a move. It's 3 wide into turn 1, and we're just going to keep it once again by hugging that inside line. And we were just about able to get enough drive out of that first corner to maintain the position. And you can see now Hamilton's made his second stop. So a lot of the guys are coming in for their second pit stop soon. That's not going to stop Hulkenberg from trying to dive it down our inside. He keeps to the mid-range. We're going to have to go to the outside again if we are to make a move. Hulkenberg pinches himself. We're going to try around the outside. Bump it up to Rich. And we're just side by side. The Renault guy is going to have DRS though. Try and hold it around the outside. Doesn't quite get enough space. And we are once again able to retain the position for 8th place. We're building up a bit of a train behind us, unfortunately. And this is going to be the lap 22, that we're going to be coming in to change our tyres. Because they are very worn out at this point. And we've got to take a set of super soft tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. You can see just struggling to get the car in. But we're going to be on the softest tyre available right at the end of the race, and that's going to be important to us. If we're down on power, then we need to be making up as much time as possible whichever way we can. But diving it into the pit lane now, Sainz appears to have lost the position to Esteban Ocon there, so just getting it slowed down for the pit lane speed limiter. But yeah, a few guys have still got another pit stop to make. The 2 stop apparently being the favoured strategy around here. Not too sure why, because the 1 stop is a lot better, saves you a lot of time in the pit lane. Even though around Hungary it's not too bad, it's only about 19 seconds we're going to lose here. 2.4 from the McLaren boys, so good stop, exactly what I needed. It turns out to be 20.8 overall pit lane time. We're going to come out right near, no, that's Kimi Räikkönen. I thought that was Ericsson about to come through, but Kimi Räikkönen. That could be beneficial to us because there's a group of cars just ahead of us that of course are scheduled to be lapped, and Räikkönen's going to help slow those guys down. So we bump it up to Rich Mix and just immediately start pounding on these tyres. You can see we're at the end of lap 24. We've caught up to the group ahead. One of the cars is Fernando, so we've managed to catch back up to him, and he's on super soft, so he's got another pit stop left to make. Then we've got Jolyon Palmer on what looks to be the back of maybe a Force India. It's difficult to tell in the sunshine here, but we've got Rich Mix and DRS off the back. Unfortunately, due to the wear on our parts, we're not going to be able to be up behind Fernando, but we do drop into the 23s, which is nice. And Magnussen's made a second pit stop, and he is behind us, so that gives us some hope for the points, as Magnussen was in 11th when we did make our pit stop. So, 11 laps to go if you include the lap that we're actually on. We've got to shape up Fernando here, because then we've got Palmer and Perez, and as we know, it's good to be in 11th place, because if there are any mechanical failures, we will be getting past as we now come up the hill. There's Perez, Palmer, Alonso, and myself. We've got so much more speed through turn 5 that we can dive it down the inside of Alonso through turn 6. These fresh super soft tyres are way better than these worn out ones, and we can now cruise up to the back of the Renault, and Perez must have an issue. He's travelling far too slowly. I can see he's on the medium tyres, but even then, his car's got such a performance advantage over the Renault and ourselves. He shouldn't be holding up a queue, and I'm desperate to get past Palmer at this point. No way through in Sector 2. It's basically Monaco without the barriers as we now go into the 3rd sector, and we're going to make a big diving move versus the Renault man. Down the inside, backsliding, catch it. And now we're up behind Sergio Perez, who does appear to be struggling, especially through the corners. He's just got almost no confidence on the power, but as we now come through to our weakest section of the track, look, we're basically pushing him through the final corner. As Alonso now makes a pit stop, DRS wide open. Even in the slipstream, we can't look to catch on Perez. Palmer looks to make a move. We're going to have to try and defend rather than make a move. We go down the middle of the Renault and the Force India, sweep through, and that is up past Sergio Perez, who looks to have also lost the position to Jolyon Palmer. And as we now cut on, we can see we're getting blue flagged by Sebastian Vettel, so we're going to have to get out of the way, and he almost like gives me no option but to go off the road a little bit. You can actually see our strategy has worked out, because we are indeed in 10th place as we now on lap 29. I'm letting the other Ferrari through of Kimi Räikkönen, both of them really hampering me as Magnussen closes in the Haas, and he's going to be our competition going into the final few laps. As you can see, we get the notice that Rich Mix is now unavailable due to the MG UK wear. That's not what I want to hear as we come down this main straight as Magnussen. It's his one and only place to make a pass as he just doesn't look to the inside. He built up so much space, and for him to think I wasn't going to go for the Daniel Ricciardo lunge is a bit foolish of him. As you can see, it happens on lap 30. You're going to see it once again here on lap 31. As Magnussen once again goes to the outside, we tuck in for a little bit of slipstream, and we brake late, dive it down the inside. Magnussen chooses to not defend. I don't know why he hasn't considered maybe making a move to the outside. And you're just going to see it again. Once again, the engineer gives me the good news in which I can defend, as we've got Magnussen and Hulkenberg now looking to make a move, but we slip once again. Hulkenberg's going to go to the inside, so we can't be that bold on the move, but we luckily defend once again. And if we can just cling on for this championship point, that'll make it 3 races in a row. Points for McLaren Honda. Pre-patch. Magnussen, once again, to the outside. I could just copy and paste the same lap over and over, and it's exactly the same thing. This is what I was having to contend with, but then I could not put a foot wrong throughout the lap. Otherwise, they would have got through. We now jump on to lap 34. This is our last lap of the Grand Prix, and Hulkenberg now tries to give it a go, and we give him the similar treatment down the inside. You would have thought Hulkenberg would have been smarter, but no. We go down the inside. That's us still in 10th. Those two are now going to be too busy scrapping with each other. And we're going to finish a country mile behind Esteban Ocon. There's blue flags, a faster car approaching. I'm not too sure. It must be one of the Mercedes up behind Hulkenberg there. But I don't really care who it is, because we're going to come across the line. That's 10th place and another point for McLaren Honda.
Good finish. You stepped up and achieved what we asked. Good job.
Those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
So, here they come now, out onto the podium. Wherever you go, anywhere in the world, the prancing horse flags are dominant in the grandstands, and they're out in force again today. It's Ferrari on the top step once more.
So there you have it. Sebastian Vettel wins the Hungarian Grand Prix from Kimi Räikkönen. Lewis Hamilton in 3rd. Bottas slipping down the order to 6th. And then you can see Carlos Sainz, the first of the one-stoppers. Then with Esteban Ocon and myself. You can see there that I actually set a faster lap time than the 2 guys ahead of us. So running the super soft tyre at the end of the race clearly proved beneficial. Then you got Magnussen and Hulkenberg, who could not make the one-stop work. Perez looks like he may have finished ahead of us, but whatever issues he had there. We now jump ahead of Kevin Magnussen in the Drivers' Championship in 11th place on 21 points. We're riding a wave of momentum at the moment. Even though it's 1 point, it's still a point. it's still a point at the end of the day. It's exactly what the team need. You're going to see here in the rivalry with Pascal Wehrlein, which is going to absolutely trounce him. Nearly a second, once again, faster than him. A little bit of cheating, because I somehow started 18th, even though I had, you know, a 65 place grid penalty for, as you know, sorry, it would have been a 55, because I swapped everything bar the gearbox. But you can see other teams showing a nice little bit of intrigue in us there with our reputation level, and it's once again, it's just getting further and further into the purple with the more points that we score. And Fernando, you see him sitting there, he's got to step up his game. You know, like, he's a 2-time world champion, and I'm carrying this team on my back. Now, granted, his AI doesn't have the upgrades, you know, because that's still part of the bug, which, like I say, affects this race and Belgium. From Italy, we will be bug-free, and all of those powertrain upgrades will finally be working. But guys, thank you very much for watching. Do leave a like if you did enjoy. Remember to hit subscribe and enable them notifications to be notified about the content coming to the channel. Belgium will be out later this week. That's a good one. I'll see you next time.